And it's fine Saturday morning to you folks and fogies out there. Oh, I'm just starting to have fun with this, yes I am. Now, I wanted to take you back to when I was 15 and doing way too many hallucinogens for my severely underdeveloped brain, and yeah, I think it did pay for that a little bit later on in life, but I had fun in the process. Now, this story is probably one of the most, if not the most terrifying thing I have ever encountered on hallucinations. So, yeah, enjoy it. This was probably my last heroic dose of mushrooms. I did, I think, 4 grams after that a couple of years later, a few times. Last time was kind of scary at that dose, but uh, for some reason, at this junction in my life, I felt the need to completely blast myself into other dimensions, and I got a little bit more than I could handle this time around. So, it all started when me and a buddy decided, hey, we've done 7 grams of mushrooms every weekend for a year now. Let's up it. Let's double that heroic dose because why not? We can handle it, right? Um, and so that we did, and went to this dealer who, I never really liked him that much at the time. All my friends were kind of just itching to hang out with him. I just had a weird feeling about this guy, and it turned out that he was not someone we should be hanging out with because he was trying to sleep with my underage friends, female friends at the time, and kind of plying them with drugs in the process. Not something I condone in any way. So, yeah, screw that guy. Smarmy creep. And he basically lives in, uh, a self-imposed exodus now with his parents. Everyone in the city just loathes this guy for a good reason. But yeah, so we get the mushrooms. He's like, okay, here, yeah, 19 grams, split down the middle, bag, bag. Have fun, kids. What are you sharing this with three friends each? What's going on? No, we're eating the whole bag, man. We've been eating all the whole bags ourselves every weekend we've come here. And he's like, okay, dudes, yeah, you're crazy. And yeah, in retrospect, it was pretty crazy. So we take our little pouches of fungi and we go down, go down to the park. And it's just me and my friend who, it's amazing he was able to eat this many mushrooms because he was a very short guy. I think he's grown taller since, but he's a very short guy at the time. And I'm a very skinny guy, so jeez, the bag of mushrooms weighed more than I did practically. Um, and so yeah, we're just shoveling these down our face because it tasted awful, especially mushrooms 10 years ago when you get them from a drug dealer. They're all fucking golden teachers. Whoever you go to, there's always golden teachers, and they taste like dirt. And athlete's foot are how I imagine athlete's foot would taste. I mean, I've kissed and nibbled on a few feet and toes here and there, but not really. Not something I'm super keen on. But anyways, uh, so yeah, we get to the end of the bag and we get word that there's a party going on at this park. This park. It's a beautiful, beautiful park. And it seems like kind of an oasis from the city. I mean, we did find out later that the little pond in the park is basically toxic. Has like detritus all over it. We'd watch like old Chinese people would come out at 5 in the morning and throw their garbage into the pond when we were kind of flailing all night. And rumor has it there's dumpsters and old disused cars at the bottom of this pond. But we hear there's just a party going on because we were always partying outside. We had nowhere to go. You know, we couldn't party at our parents' houses. Most of my friends' parents were, you know, kind of clusterfucks themselves, and you know, one excuse to have a beer, you know, if we were having beer, was, you know, all they needed to get fucked up. So we partied outside for the most part. Now, this party was being thrown by a bunch of kids that I wasn't, I don't want yeah, well, I wasn't necessarily that fond of. I mean, I was friends with a couple of them, and I partied with that group many times, but I never really enjoyed their parties, or the way they partied anyhow. And, so, I mean, I was totally neglecting the setting here. So we're on our way. About 5, 10 minutes after eating it, I remember one of my friends who was just kind of like, "Are you tripping yet? Are you tripping? Are you tripping?" This guy was a, you know, little shit who just liked to mess with us while we were high because he would never do hallucinogens. He would just kind of watch us trip out. His face got all kind of blocky, and his features looked like clay, and his jaw just started going. Like, he looked like oh, what's that cartoon? The ladies' man, Johnny Bravo. He looked like Johnny Bravo just without the hair and the glasses, just that big chin. And I'm looking at the apartment buildings and the condos as we're walking up the street, and the windows are all swirling like vortices, just like, yeah, this is awesome, we're tripping, dude. And the cars did the same thing they always did when I took this much mushrooms. They were becoming really boxy like that. Some, though, would go and start slowly drift back into their form. And so, yeah, I know, I'd say like an hour later we get to this park, and yeah, there's a bunch of people chilling, smoking weed, and so I got this bubbler I just picked up in San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury, which is a great place. I loved it. You know, I'm all for hippy-dippy shit like that. And so yeah, I pull out the bubbler, and you know, for those of you who don't know, smoking weed on psychedelics is a recipe for having a way more intense trip and a way more anxiety-filled trip. And so, I mean, I didn't care at the time as a kid. I still smoke weed on psychedelics, but not like a maniac. You know, have a couple puffs of a joint here and there. That's about it. Or I'll smoke some weed to keep it going if it's like starting to fade. But yeah, so, and at this point it's like already dark. You know, it was starting to get dark when we had eaten the bag. And we're in this park, and there are very few lights, street lights that is. So, yeah, we're just doing a rip out of this bubbler because it was like a little bong. Just about, yeah, not big, but it had a big bowl, and yeah, you just, no, like that, it works. So we were all taking rips out of this thing. And, God, I can't remember how many we took before I just got way too high. Maybe 4 or 5, but we're still going around because we had this sort of competitive edge about smoking weed at that age where we would just smoke until everyone dropped except for like one person who's like, "Whoa, you guys can handle your shit." I guess so stupid, but anyways, I was looking at my friends' faces, which I could barely see in the dark, and I started having this pareidolia effect of they started growing these features that were like shimmering in different colors, and they're like multicolored goatees, and they kind of looked like that rainbow track, and same sort of color scheme as Rainbow Track in Mario Kart, and these big smiles are going, meow, 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 and one of the dudes beside me, his face goes, "Dump the ball, buddy," or something like that, and so I thought he was just like saying there are cops coming, and you know we need to put this shit away, so like, you know, just paranoia, right? So I dump the contents of the bubbler onto the ground, and I kind of just stumble around like, because, like, I look at the sky, there's just, I can see I can't see very many stars in my city because of all the light pollution, but I could see these, like, lines that were, like, they looked like star charts, constellations that had, symmetrical lines sort of around them, showing where the stars are, and they were all multicolored. There was this big tribal face that sort of appeared out of the sky, and then there was a big totem pole looking dude with pills swirling around him, and then he would just go boom, 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 and just spitting out pills. It was one of the weirdest things. And like, I just hear, "What are you doing, man? Did you just dump the water? We still want to smoke." And I just look back and I'm like, I just kind of wander off, and like I can when I looked at them, I could just feel their glares. Like, what the fuck is up with this dude? He's acting really weird. It's just this heightened sense of judgment. It was just feeding into my paranoia. And then they started doing this thing that was just, oh my god, it was the trippiest thing to see, especially when it's the first time you've ever seen it. But they were reducing the shutter speed on the camera, and then they were taking laser pointers and going, and so for those of you who haven't seen this effect, what it does is on the camera, the lines from the laser pointer, they're continuous and they don't fade, and you can just essentially watch someone dancing around while they're painting these lines in the sky. It's really cool, but at the time it was just like too much for me. So I'm watching this and I'm like looking at the lines, I'm looking at the camera, looking at the lines, looking at the camera, and then I'm looking at them and the lines just aren't fading in the air in real life, and I was like, oh no, like these are like the longest lasting tracers I've ever seen. And this is when it got crazy. So this vortex started kind of like opening up behind them, and I was like, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And then my vision just started to go black. Like, I couldn't see anything at all. And I was, except for the lines, except for those laser lines, like they had multiple laser pointers doing this. Like, I think there's a green, a red, and like a purple and a white, I think. And yeah, like, I could just see those lines, and that was it. So I'm like stumbling around trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And yeah, that was some. Yeah, that terrified me down to my bones, but it was just getting started, the craziness here. Like, yeah, so that's when this light, like I'm looking around trying to figure out where the hell I am. I can feel my feet stepping in mud, so I know I'm not on the trail anymore. And I just got this feeling like there's a big band around my head, big bands kind of pulling my wrists and legs back like that. Like, there's this wrenching motion, like, and this big light kind of and back in blackness, and then what looked like kind of like, I don't know if you've ever seen a door open with light on the other side when you're in a room in complete pitch black darkness. This is what it looked like, just swung open, and I felt like I couldn't move. Like, I asked people afterwards, and apparently I was just kind of stumbling around like this, and like, whoa, like this is, I completely broken through pretty much, but to a place of utter blackness, and then these limbs just started going, like they were diving into me like that, and I was like it felt like they were kind of puncturing me in a way. And yeah, it felt like an alien autopsy. That's what it felt like, and it went on for a very long time until one friend of mine had the good sense to go. I'm taking him home. I'm taking him home, and like I have so much thanks to him for doing that because uh, like I essentially would have been fucked if sorry. I just had to do that, or you would keep hearing ding 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 throughout this entire video. I should have exited Facebook before I did this. But yeah, so my friend grabs me and he's taking me home and he's like, yo, you good, dude, you good? And I'm like, oh man, what the fuck? And like, as soon as I left the group, and he basically had to guide me, I just started stumbling around still, and not sure where I was, but as soon as he got me out of that party environment, I just felt this pressure alleviate. And I was still really high, I was still tripping balls, but like, it was at a point where it was like, kind of enjoyable now. So, yeah, he brings me back to his house, and he's like, oh, what you'd always do going back to his house after a party, you'd have some grilled cheese, put on TV, usually make fun of some infomercials at 3 in the morning, and pass out. So that's what he was doing, giving me some routine, some comfort, or not routine, but familiarity. Just me a piece of grilled cheese, I just go, oh. I'm like chewing on it for like 2 minutes, and then I just go, you can't eat this, dude. And he's just, fuck, give it to me. And I look at him, and he turns to this giant ogre, just metamorphosizes himself. Like he's like 15 feet tall, and he's huge, and he's red, and he's just looking at me, and it looks like he has like big fangs, and like he's just kind of looking at me like, dude, you really did it this time. And so, for whatever reason, he turns on televangelists, like old televangelists, talking. And if you've ever watched TV on mushrooms, everybody looks old. Let alone old fucking people. They look like they're like something unnatural. You see all the wrinkles, and then there's like an extra wrinkle for where each already existing wrinkle is. And like, I was just watching these guys, and they were just black eyes growing out of their foreheads. Their foreheads grew bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I was like, oh, dude. And yeah, so after that, I somehow passed out. Got up the next morning and was like, okay, that's the last time I'm doing that. But then I did eat 9 grams of mushrooms. Actually, yeah, I said that was the last time I did it. I accidentally ate 9 grams of mushrooms, like, a couple years later, but I blacked out for most of that. So there is a bit of a story there, but it's mostly, like, my friends filling me in on crazy shit I was doing while I was running around in this blacked out state, but, yeah, so that was 9.5 grams of mushrooms. I do not recommend this dose. I do not. That was like one of the most terrifying things I've encountered, and it was intrusive. It was completely like it violated every sense of safety and security I had. It was like scary on a primal, like primordial sense, like kind of the same way sleep paralysis is, and I've had sleep paralysis my entire life, so I've had some nutty fucking shit happen while in sleep paralysis. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to share that as a cautionary tale for you guys. Enjoy. Cheerio.